Well, hello everybody, I'm back again. Right, 1 second. Alright. Um, I'm going to be talking about burial or cremation. Because yesterday I got in a conversation with a guy about cremation or burial. Which one does he prefer? And what would choose? Now, everyone's got their individual. Because he asked me, I'm going to get straight to the point. He asked me, he's not a believer in God, but he asked me, would God hold it against him if he had cremation? I said, well, let's reason it out. Does it matter whether you get cremated or buried? Right? Not necessarily. Not really. Because if God numbers the hairs on your head and he knows every hair on your head, i.e., every star in the universe, in every galaxy in the universe, I'm sure he remembers your DNA, right? I'm sure he remembers it. Every person that's lived. That's why he talks about resurrection. Jesus talks about the resurrection, right? People who's died, resurrection. So, cremation or burial. Well, the guy said to me he's getting cremated. But for some reason, deep down, he says it doesn't feel right because a lot of companies are offering cremation now instead of burial. And they're saying it's something to do with saving land, all this, that, and the other, right? Well, if that's the case, why do we have graveyards, right? Look, as far as I'm concerned, once you're buried, you're buried. Doesn't matter where you're buried, as long as you're buried, right? For me, this is my choice, right? I want to go for burial. And he said, why? Why have you picked different? I said, I'm willing to pay the extra for burial. I'm going to tell you the reasons why. This is not just about God for me. This is about what I said in my last video about organ donation. If there's any fuckery going on, right, at least you can be dug back up for the evidence to be found that you had something taken out of you that you shouldn't have done, right? So therefore, the person or company that did that can be held accountable, and therefore your relatives can get some money, some compensation, right? Because a relative had something taken away when they shouldn't. Remember that guy, that guy who run that crematorium, that burial place, a funeral parlor place, and he was found with thousands of organs and legs and arms and heads and stuff. You know what I mean? He got done. He's been sent to prison, right? He got done for that. You see what I'm saying about the fuckery? If you've been buried, at least your body can be dug back up. If you're cremated, the evidence has been burnt. You can't dig up something that's powder, can you? And see if there's an organ missing, right? This is about holding them accountable. I'm going to pay the extra for my funeral. I'm going to be buried. If I have to pay an extra couple of grand, I'll pay an extra couple of grand. Because at the end of the day, crimes can be committed, and if you're cremated, you can't prove shit. You can't prove fuck all, nothing, because you're ashes. You can't dig up ashes and look at organs because they're ashes, right? This is why I want to be buried. Because at the end of the day, it's the old traditional way of doing stuff. And Abraham got buried with Sarah. You know what I mean? Everyone got buried, right? Only the pagans sacrificed or cremated, right? Cremated the people, like India, the cremation. Back in the past, in Bible times, they were classed as pagans, right? In the Jewish times and stuff, they were classed as pagans, right? Because the Romans, they cremated their sometimes. This is, I think, they cremated their you got England that cremated and they put the coins on their eyes and shit, and then burn them. Ragnarok and all this shit. You know what I mean? If you burn something, the evidence has gone. Right? Understand that. The only thing you've got to rely on then is paperwork. Well, I've heard of doctors and hospitals lying on the paperwork. Well, if you're buried, they can dig you up to see if it coincides what they've written. So therefore, if it doesn't, and something's missing or something got done when it was weren't supposed to, they'll be held accountable, and the family can take them to court on behalf of you, right? Because the evidence has been dug up, not cremated, dug up because you were buried. And therefore, that person goes to prison and the family gets compensation. And the government has to make changes. You see what I'm saying? Use your brain, people. Right? I'm not just getting buried because of my beliefs. I'm doing it because there's an ulterior motive. The fact if there's any fuckery with my body, behind my permission, after I'm dead, right? Because I've spoke my views on here about it, then someone can be held accountable. And my family at least get some compensation, right? Out the government, out the hospital, out the doctor, out the nurses, whatever. Whatever it comes to be, whatever light comes to be, right? That's the reason why I choose burial, not cremation, right? Because evidence, when it's burnt, there's no evidence because it's been burnt. Anyway, I thought I'd just come on here and just now it's up to people. Look, this is up to people. It's not. This is my choice. Burial, right? Not cremation. And I've got two valid points. The reason why I want burying instead of cremation, right? Because at the end of the day, someone has to be held accountable if there's something been stripped from me when it shouldn't have been stripped from me, right? Because I refuse. I don't have a driving license, so I don't have a problem. I don't have my physical DVLA. Oh yeah, I do have it. I think I checked it a couple of years ago when I was filling the forms out, and it doesn't say anything about me being an organ donor because I didn't apply for a physical license. It was just a provisional license. So anyway, I've lost all them, so it doesn't really matter. Right? There's no evidence on me physically to prove that I'm an organ donor, so they can't do nothing. They have to save your life, not just let you fucking die or just keep you alive until you get to hospital and they say, "Oh, by the way, he died." You know, you don't know what's happened in that hospital, do you? Eh? Especially with all these fucking scientists are doing what they're doing now and shit. You don't know, do you? They're even talking now about transferring your conscience with this thing, this machine. It's in the hand and it goes through like a cable thing, and you have a copy that's been cloned. It's a clone of you, and it's been grown without a consciousness. You see what I'm saying? And they transfer your consciousness into the new body, and it has to be an absolute perfect replica, right? It can't be, something else. It has to be a one for one of you, but it's a clone copy for it to work for the transfer your memory over, right? They've got technology like that. Why do you think that to Jim Carrey, right? That clone looks spit in image, but only slightly different. You know what I mean? Who knows what the fuck goes on in these fucking companies? There's companies. By the way, the NHS is a cooperation that deals in courts, dealings, business, and physical courts. You know what I'm saying? Hint, hint. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. You guys have a good one, and may God bless you.